Hey guys, so here we are today on a beautiful sunny Gold Coast day. We're at Precinct Brewing and we're going to go and chat to Jez.
ABV is proudly sponsored by Convoy, Bintani, Craft Punks Canning and Rallings, labels and stickers.
All right, Jez, mate, thanks for having us here today. You've brought us out here to start the tour in your shed.
Yep.
What's going on in the shed? Is it storage? Is it
yes,
everything?
Storage. For me, it's one of like the best parts of this particular site that we picked is that we've got the brewery in front of house, all down that end.
Yep.
A car park, and then this shed full of shit.
But it's a great amount of space, right? There's
truly
like heaps of room here.
Truly is, yep.
Yeah.
So we've got obviously all of our empty cans, some empty kegs, malt. Behind Joel, there's a bunch of cool rooms. That's mostly beer in there, but also helps with the food front of house side of things as well. So there are 3 higher cool rooms, which is kind of nice because they are mobile. We've added them on one at a time slowly over the years. Hopefully this year is the year where we can build in a cool room.
Yeah.
I mean, renting adds up
100%.
over time.
Yep.
So yeah, we started out here just because, this is where it starts, really, all the raw materials, storage and things like that. And I think people watching this, podcast video series probably like to see that side of it as well. I mean, it's tough work being in a little brewery that you don't have that storage spaces in.
It's not always just sitting in a brew house drinking beer.
No, exactly right.
Or sitting on a brew deck working with that either. Like, this is where you spend a lot of time as well.
Yep, absolutely. So there is a bunch of solar panels on the roof as well.
Cool.
As anyone that's got a brewery and venue or whatever probably knows well.
Crack a day in the Goldie too, to be cranking the power.
We filled the roof up and it just sucks it all straight down into the business. None of it goes anywhere else. So it was that was a big benefit. We're actually, because this area is a little bit older for Gold Coast, like 25 years old is old basically here. But we were tripping main breakers. We couldn't get enough power in from the street as well during the day, especially if the brewery was overlapping with the kitchen.
Yep.
So having that solar on the roof kind of provides on-site power, which minimises how much power we need to suck from
no
the
brownouts
bulb.
then. And
yep, exactly. So we have avoided that with that on there as well, which is kind of nice. If we walk just out here a little bit as well, we'll kind of see we've got a bit more storage kind of out here. Events trailer, which has got a tarp on it now because it was slowly dying in the sun. All the wrap was fading away.
Yep.
And then just behind that as well, there's a bit of a cage. It's got some of the glycol chillers for the brewery in it and steam boiler as well. So that kind of rounds out, a lot of the stuff that is all the supporting infrastructure that often if you guys go into a brewery and you see inside there, you may not see this stuff, but all this stuff is so key. Obviously, it's the lifeblood of the brewery,
Keeps the brewery running.
So we're entering the main building really now, where we're kind of, first thing we're seeing is there's another cool room in front of us. Yep. That's kind of our serving cool room, I guess you could say. We've obviously got kegs that are pouring from in there. Kegs of beer pumps. There's a glycol fed python that goes underground to the main bar. 12 taps. And I'm pretty sure the tap font and all of that infrastructure was out of, I think it was Currumbin RSL that was getting renovated out. We managed to pick that up secondhand.
Yeah,
so
nice.
We're going past now a little pilot fermenting skid, actually, which the other half of this was out in that back shed, didn't point out, but
over in the back corner?
Yeah, over in the back corner there. It's a little electric 2-vessel brew house that's on wheels that we can roll in and out. And so it's ticketed to be 300 litres capacity on the label, but we can squeeze like maybe 450 litres out of it.
Do you get to use it as often as you like?
Yeah, this thing's been gold. We've flogged it for the last 4 years. So that's where, massive majority of our pilot brews come out of. So this one particular part that we're looking at here as well, it's got its own little independent glycol chiller. It's also on wheels. Theory being that it's removable or movable to any site. You can fire it up. But initially when we started ordering equipment and stuff, it was the idea was we could get this here and it would be relatively quick to set up and commission, and we could start kind of brewing beers while the rest of the building is being built, which was late 2019 that we started doing all that stuff. So, going for a little late 2019 that we started doing that stuff, and the world changed a fair bit around that time. So ultimately it didn't play out like that. Like this was supposed to come a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
go like, oh, we'll send one container as soon as this thing's kind of ready and get it set up and get happening. But everything came at the same time. But even so, it is absolutely gold, this thing, being able to do those little pilot batches. And it's little pilot batch in inverted commas. We get pretty reliably 7 or 8 kegs out of a pilot batch, depending on the style out of it now. So it's a good amount where it's worth putting in the time and effort to obviously all the tap deck hours and marketing stuff that goes along with that. But yeah, it's kind of a pilot batch will hang around then for a solid month or two.
That's right. Yep. And enough people get to try it. And then you can gauge real good customer feedback.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's obvious. It stands on its own in terms of production value as well.
Yeah.
So it takes the same amount of time to brew a 20-litre batch versus a 2,000-litre batch, more or less. So having that little middle scale has kind of been ideal for that, and to the point where we can sell 1 or 2 kegs of a pilot batch to another venue if we choose to on that side of things as well. But
awesome.
yeah. And Joel is now wandering past a few 2,500 litre fermenters.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because from the front you don't really see these big ones, like they're hidden behind the HLT and the CLT, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So these are your core range predominantly that you're pushing through years?
Yep, exactly. Yep, they're a bigger volume beers. So yeah, 2,500 litres on the ticket, but again, we're getting 3,000 litres plus into them and out of them pretty reliably. They are full. I'm not going to lie. There is some messy moments associated with that. But
the old dry hopping.
Yeah, well, but if you can fit it in there, why not? Yeah. So so like you say, this is where a lot of the core stuff happens. Well, particularly two bigger brands. So the lager predominantly, and then some Pacific Ale as well. So lager's by far and large our biggest volume beer. It's the only beer that's been on there. It was the first beer that we ever brewed here. It's the first beer that's been on tap. Yep. Still there. Yeah. Doing its thing. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Mate, decent size HLT and CLTs.
CLT, HLT. Yep. They are basically triple the size of the brew house. Yeah. We were umming and ahhing about going double, but then I just kind of asked the manufacturer, what does a triple tank floor space kind of look like? And it wasn't a whole lot bigger. Yeah. So we did that. And kind of thankful for that as well in a lot of ways. We could totally make it work with double-sized ones, but having that extra buffer is just super handy. Yeah. You're not having to be right on the bleeding edge of like hot and cold liquor management as you're doing stuff. And yeah, there's certain days, where we got lots going on in the brewery and we don't want to put extra stress on the glycol system, so we can just use the existing cold liquor that's in there and not have to top it up.
Sometimes ambient can make a big difference too, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So, but yeah, again, close to 4,000 litres of capacity in those ones with a 1,200 litre brew house. Triple vessel thing, we got mash tun, it's all steam heated as well, mash tun into lauter tun into combined kettle whirlpool. 1,200 litres on the ticket, again we get 1,600 litres out of it, as most of the guys using Tiantai gear are well aware of, that there is a fair bit of headroom in there that you can make use of.
Double brew days?
Yep. It's a little bit slower compared to some brew houses that I've used in the past, and I'll probably good to mention here that I learnt brewing commercially at Stonerwood, so big, 4 and then 5 vessel brew houses, 2 of them working in conjunction, so you can pump word out like no tomorrow. But this, double brew day, we can get done comfortably within 10 hours now. Yeah. There's been a fair bit of learning that. When I first was brewing solo here myself, it would have been at least 12-hour long days. Yep. But yeah, we've made quite a lot of changes. Probably the biggest change, actually, thinking out loud now, is that the original grain mill that was supplied with it, wasn't super happy with. We'd get a lot of dusty kind of looking grain, things like that. We ended up buying
the mash.
Yeah, and the lautering for sure as well. It was a little bit just hard to manage at times. Yeah, okay. It was unpredictable, I guess. We ended up ordering a grain mill from Summa, I think they are, like a German one, that made a huge difference straight away.
Yeah, right.
We could get more reliable kind of extract out of the brew house, and just lautering was so much more consistent, so much easier. Yeah, all steam heated. Our steam boiler actually was a big win. I think we bought it sight unseen for about $5,000 from Tassie, from an old laundromat down there. Yep. That had decommissioning report, everything looked solid, got sent up, and that hasn't missed a beat either.
Yeah, great.
So, it's been good. The other little bit of the puzzle, I guess, talking about brewing hardware, on the back bar here, there's a couple of, there's 4 fermenting vessels that are about 700 litres in capacity. So essentially the idea was we could do a batch of wort and split it in half and do 2 different things, or do a half-size batch on the brew house, with maybe a bigger beer or something like that. But also from early on, we were using them as serving tanks. So on the front side, we'll see that there's like a little drop-down pipe. That we had taps on there when we first opened up, but they were absolute pain in the ass into serving tanks. They would work from time, like you get them working, but as soon as they were left to kind of get any kind of warmth into that beer, particularly because we had to drop it down from a height, they would just fob up and it would just be a nightmare for the staff. Value-wise, we thought, okay, if we have a beer that we're serving up in a serving tank and it takes 2 or 3 months even to dispense out fully, we could have turned that tank over 2 or 3 times in that time as well. So we ended up going, no, we got those extra cool rooms that we saw earlier on. Let's keg it all out and just do something else with the tank in that meantime. So that's what we switched to after about a year. So we've got a fully stocked bar, I guess you call it here. So we sell spirits and wine and stuff as well on a restaurant license, because we do have a kitchen on the other side of the tanks that we can see as well. So the boys and girls in there do a really good job of all the food that we kind of serve up. So it's predominantly pizzas, but also a whole heap of different like finger and share food. So calamari is a real treat. Shame the kitchen isn't open today, so some of that. These other vessels here are 1,200 litres on the ticket, get about 1,500 plus litres in them. But we do a lot of core range out of this stuff as well. So we'll get 25 to 27 kind of kegs out of a batch, which is for us is a really serviceable amount for a lot of our kind of mid-volume core range beers.
You got takeaway cans in here. I haven't seen a can line or machine anywhere.
No, big shout outs to the madman Scotty at Craft Punks.
Yeah, nice.
And the team there, Dino and the other guys. So absolute legends. We've been working with them from day one.
Do they come and fit out here, or where?
Basically back where we just walked through.
Okay,
Nice.
So that's the long line setup.
Yes, exactly right. And that was probably one of the other benefits of, I guess, when we were building this place, you could see a blank patch of floor there. People were like, oh, what's going here? What's happening here? It's like, no, that's one of the most valuable bits of real estate in the brewery. It's the blank miscellaneous use floor. So keg washing all gets done in there. Canning, like you say, gets done in there as well. Basically blank cans come up this end, full ones far out the door at the other one. So.
Nice. Did I see a distilling rig around the side?
100 litre still that we do predominantly vodka on, basically, or neutral spirit, I suppose. So that's both to service our ginger beer that we make, which is an RTD style ginger beer, but also in the bar we go through, quite a fair share of vodka really in the bar as well. So on the weekends this place can get quite lively. And the spirits get a good knock, and it's something that we're kind of we're looking more and more into actually. You guys would have seen earlier on, we're playing around with different kind of flavouring concoctions, and we're doing more like limited release, I suppose you'd call them. RTD kegs and things like that. We have the capacity to make like up single blends of single keg blends of things. So I really enjoy it. I've loved adding on that distilling component to brewing since starting here. So it's just it's all kettle, all fish in a similar pond, I should say. So we're lucky enough to have really good neighbours in Grandad Jack's, just over our back fence, another really good local distillery. So I was annoying Luke non-stop for questions about this kind of stuff. So
that's right.
That's a pretty brief tour in a sense, but I think we touched on everything, all the big parts anyway. So let's grab a beer, huh?
100%.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Hey, thanks for having us.
Cheers to you, Joel, behind the camera as well. No problem, of course.
This place is epic. You just treated us to an awesome brewery tour and all that sort of stuff. We're out in the front of house now. 200 seater. I think 190, but 200-ish. So it's a healthy amount of people, particularly when every seat is taken up. Coolest thing about this place is that it's got so many different personalities, right? Like during the day like this, it's nice open air, we're getting sea breeze and stuff in, it's nice and chill, relaxed. Come the weekends, particularly busy weekends, a lot of the windows and doors get closed and there's live musos, and there'll be 200 odd people in here having a good time. The seating is really cool. Like are these old church pews?
They are 100% legitimate ex-church pews. Yep. They've even got the little, most of them have it, a lot of them been smashed off, the little square pocket thing holder for the hymn books or whatever in the back of it. So we've talked about repainting them, but I don't know, I kind of like the
character's great.
The character They did get re-seated, like the leather bit of it has been replaced. That kind of needed to happen, but
where on earth do you get church pews?
Church going out of business sale or something. I think it was a marketplace find. Scotty, one of the other owners, was found them during the start of it. So, and then all the rest of the tables is all just kind of custom build stuff from one of the local guys that's done a lot of the venues around the place. So yeah, and then stools, and then beyond that, what else do you need, I guess?
Yeah. Mate, your beer taps, we touched on those.
Yep.
The locals go more for like the limited releases that are coming out, or the core range, or is it a mix? Like what's you said the lager's the biggest seller because everyone needs a decent lager on tap, obviously. But like everything else, like how does it sort of move?
Mixed bag, real mixed bag. So you'll get your people that know what they like, come in, the regulars that order similar things. It's a real hard one to put your finger on. There's no rules when it comes to that stuff, I don't think. So, like I say, like we touched on it a bit earlier, but we didn't have anything hop driven on a limited tap for a little while, and we were noticing it then because people were like, "What IPAs?" or "Where's your IPA?" They kind of strangle us across the bar. But so now there's a whole bunch of them on there, hop driven stuff. So we do.
You can't control when they run out.
Can't control when they run out, and that's literally how we kind of have that cool room staged up. It's basically, once something blows, the next thing's on. Yeah. The first year that we traded, we made it a point of difference to have a new beer on tap every single week. Yeah. Which was, we got it done.
Yeah.
But there's park kegs and stuff everywhere in the cool room. You're pulling something off tap for the 100%. Sake of putting the new thing on tap and that kind of thing. So it was an interesting point of difference. I don't know, it's a weird one. I feel like maybe the first year, probably 2 years into it, is when people were most thirsty and most keen for something different. And then I think over time people slowly kind of nudge back a little bit the other way, and they're kind of looking for value or consistency in some stuff. The sticking your neck out, being brave with new beers can be bite both ways, I suppose. You can find something you really love, but other times you might be like, I'm only having 1 or 2 beers, but you order something you don't quite love. You're kind of like, I should have got the lager or whatever else that I know that I'll like. And
Precinct Brewing, like precinct means, a spot, a location, an area. Is that what it was?
Yep, that factored in massively to the naming. As anyone that's named kind of businesses, I suppose, particularly when you've got 5 people in a room. Something that we deliberated over for a fairly long time. There wasn't even really ever a big shortlist, I suppose, but when this one did pop up and we kind of sat down and talked through it, it kind of glued itself on pretty quickly. You would be remiss not to mention that, around us, over our back shed is Grandad Jack's, and the new addition also Roji Cat. So Toshi & Co.'s new brewery. We're 200 metres away from the original Black Ops site, and Fizz Hard Seltzer is right there as well. So like I say, within literally 2 or 3 minute walk in every direction, there's I guess 5 venues really that makes up a little precinct, I suppose. So
the venue itself, it's like pretty forward facing for customers, like when they come in off the thing. Like, what was this originally?
Panel beaters. White's Automotive, I believe it was called. So the front half was like panel beating, the back half there was like a paint booth in here. It was. She was a pretty messy spot. There was even like a little bong room, to be honest.
Really?
That we had to clean out. That was just pretty fucking hard case to see. So it was a funny one. She was pretty dirty. I think it was about a week worth of vacuuming. There was about an inch of dust, like sanding panels on cars, slapping dust all over the roof, things like that. So. It's a pretty old building. A lot of it, we did a fair bit of engineering into it as well. Like you'll see those steel beams that are up around above the windows and stuff. We had to add those in because none of the walls are core filled.
Right, okay.
So basically they're not up to spec. As soon as you start modifying them, especially as well, like we had to make the windows slightly bigger to accommodate those big roller windows. There was a little bit of engineering that had to be done to make it safe. And a whole lot of the floor was cut up for all the brewery plumbing and glycol stuff. So about half of the slab, from that bar backwards, basically was all cut up and replaced. So, but it was
some big jobs.
Big jobs. One of the owners in Precinct, he's a commercial builder as well. So, that's his
that helps
bread and butter.
immensely.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So,
what's been your biggest challenge in here since it's open? Has it been like any equipment that's not been where it needed to be, and you've had to figure out a workaround, or has it been working with the front of house crew, like you said, the issues with the serving tanks didn't work out how you wanted? Things like, what's been your biggest challenge?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's probably like that integration of, we're not a production brewery really here in the sense that you have a production site and then the bar's separate. It's all one in the same area, so you do have that challenge of being open to the
if you want
public
to use
whilst
these
brewing.
tanks, you've got to know
Exactly
that, right?
right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So you've got those are definitely the biggest challenges, and it's hospitality, as you well know. Anything can happen at any time in a sense. So you might be coming in, one day being like, this is my list of stuff I want to get done today, and throw it out the window and something kind of blows up when you get here. So that challenge of it, the unknown, is always tough. I'd say that over time that's definitely gotten easier and easier and easier though.
Yeah.
So I guess, opening really in that first probably 12, 24 months of trading is always going to be, I felt that was probably harder than the last 24 months.
Yep.
Just because it is all brand new, everything, anytime you're doing something, it's for the first time, or one of the first times you're learning it, you're adapting it. But now most stuff is pretty locked in. So, we've done it enough times that you kind of have, for most things, found a better way. Maybe not the best way. Things will forever evolve and change, right? But it's definitely gotten a lot easier over time.
Mate, last question. Where do you see Precinct in 5 or 10 years? Like, what's your expectation? Is it to have this as be the go-to Gold Coast brewery venue? Is it to have a second venue that is Precinct branded, that's a small tap room? Like, what's the...
Yep. So the second option that you talked about is something that we'd kind of chatted briefly about before.
Yep.
Maybe not in 2025. See how, hospitality has been a tough year last year for it.
It's been a fickle beast the last couple, 12 months, for sure.
But 4 years into it now, I can kind of envision that thing where maybe you're not necessarily looking for that, but an option, an email out of the blue or something drops into your inbox or whatever else, and you open it up and you go, actually, everyone's kind of ready for this in their personal lives or whatever else, or it's just the right opportunity.
All those factors come into it.
It'll be the right opportunity. It'll always be the worst time. That's just how it goes, right? It'll be like you'll be the busiest time of the year, and then the thing will pop up and you go, actually, that kind of might tick kind of the boxes. So I think potentially down the track, we're still looking forward to how, not so much how Precinct will change, I guess, but this area is definitely undergoing a whole lot of change at the moment with a lot of that tram stuff going in, and the Gold Coast is not the small sleepy surf village that it might not have ever been, but especially not at the moment now. It's a proper kind of city feel to it in a lot of ways now, but we're 5 minutes from Burleigh, and you see how busy that is constantly, and a lot of infrastructure and that going in. So I feel like this area will change a whole lot, which will bring new dimensions to this. Maybe your slow, sleepy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday normal trade start, look quite different when you've got more and more people around all the time. So we'll keep evolving what we do. We'll be adding more and more of the spirit side into it constantly, and it'll be interesting to seeing where it takes us rather than where we take it in that sense. But I wouldn't be, rather than chasing a big wholesale game, that's something that we're not necessarily skilled or super experienced at doing. But if another little venue, a satellite venue opportunity popped up, that's something that we'd potentially consider.
Yeah, nice. Mate, is there anything that you want to say that we haven't covered that you think that might be cool?
Shout out to all the staff here that make all the place happen, particularly Lockie. He's slaving away in the background now, and Ryan, who manages the place. So we can talk to the faces of the business and stuff all the time, but at the end of the day, it's all the staff, right?
It's the people that are in it. And
that are on the coal face of the hospitality venues on the weekend that kind of make it all happen, put the smiles on people's faces. So,
that's it. Mate, cheers to beer.
Cheers to beer, man.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Jolly.
Joel.
Cheers. Yeah. Beautiful.